So here we are. Thank you for attending. I'm happy to share what my typical day is. So let's get started. Some background about me. I'm originally from New Jersey. I have a lot of Jersey pride. I'm currently living in North Carolina. I graduated from the College of New Jersey in 2013 with a chemistry major and an English minor. I later went and got my PhD in chemistry and material science from Princeton University in 2017. And I've been a YCC member since 2012. So it's been a long journey. I've been an ACS member even longer. And just for some fun facts, I love ice cream. Ice cream is my favorite food. And I must admit that I am a bit of an ice cream snob. My entire Instagram is basically just ice cream cones with sprinkles. And I love rocks, crystals. This is a picture of agate. I basically spent a huge chunk of my PhD performing crystal structure refinements on all different kinds of new materials. So something I enjoy, and I still get to do it in my current job a little bit. So we'll talk about that soon. So first question, raise your hand if you're an inventor on a patent. Someone, okay, Steven, I can't see you, sorry. I can't see if anyone else is raising their hand, but one is good, I'm impressed, that's very cool. I know some students in graduate school who are made inventors on patents, some in undergrad, but it's a really cool achievement, so awesome. Time for some patent law fast facts. Patent law is a type of intellectual property. There are three main types of intellectual property: patents, copyrights, and trademarks. Patent agents are individuals who have passed the United States Patent and Trademark Office's patent bar exam. It's a registration exam, and once you pass this exam, you are given a registration number to go and prosecute patent applications. And I just want to mention that, so patent prosecution is different from patent litigation. Patent prosecution involves the preparation and filing of a patent application, and then working with examiners at the USPTO to later issue that patent. This is very different from patent litigation. So lawyers litigate patents. Patent agents are involved in the complete opposite side of the process. We're involved in getting you that patent. So all of the back and forth with the patent office, talking to examiners, drafting the application, we are getting you the final product. So what is a patent? A patent provides a legal owner with the ability to exclude others from making, selling, or using the invention for 20 years. Patentable subject matter includes mostly anything: chemicals, compositions of matter, methods of making or doing something, processes, really much anything. But where it gets messy is when you begin to encounter naturally occurring things like CBD, a plant extract. I actually have done a lot of work on CBD, which it's exciting, but it's a very nuanced subject, and you have to figure out, how can I claim this and put it in a patent application where I won't encounter any issues. Where it also gets messy is with cloning, like naturally occurring items, and also software. So next question is, raise your hand if you know anyone whose dream job is or was to become a patent agent or patent attorney. I don't see any. Oh, Jillian, okay, cool. That's impressive. I honestly don't know anyone who ever dreamed of becoming a patent agent or a patent attorney. It seems like we tend to arrive at this job. We tend to fall into it, and I'll explain that in a little bit. How did I get here? So my third year of graduate school, that's the worst year, I will say. That's where the soul searching began. I realized in my third year that I enjoyed reading and writing and studying chemistry much more than doing the research. So I went and explored all different types of careers in science. I mean, my exploration involved industrial careers. I just knew that academia wasn't for me at the time. So I looked into industry, consulting, and scientific journalism. I had informational interviews with fellow alumni from my university, and I ended up landing at patent law by a process of elimination, quite honestly. It seemed the most interesting somehow, in just looking at all the other jobs that were available and in front of me at the time. So this is a basic trajectory. I graduated in 2017 from Princeton. I later started a job as a technical advisor at a patent law firm in New York City. Technical advising is one of the main ways that pure scientists can end up in patent law. It means that we are, like, in this role, serving as scientific advisors for partners in the law firm. We're assessing the technical aspects of patent applications and instructing the partners and associates how would you perform this reaction in real time in the lab. How can we expand the scope of this reaction to something even greater so that the inventors can get even more than what they actually achieved. I later passed the USPTO's patent bar exam in 2017 to become a patent agent. And so as a patent agent, I can file my own materials at the USPTO. I don't necessarily have to work under anyone. When I was a technical advisor, I had to. I later relocated to North Carolina in 2018 for my husband's work. And then I started a job as a patent agent at Alston & Bird in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I have been happily working. And I started part-time law school in August of 2020. So you might be wondering, what exactly do patent agents do? Well, we have two main tasks. We work with inventors to get their ideas into a patent application. This involves us evaluating how the invention is novel and non-obvious over what went before it. So we do this by looking at patentability search results, and we basically take the results, we look at the new subject matter, and we draft claims to put in a patent application. And then we put the entire application together with examples from the lab. Oftentimes, a professor at a university will give us a disclosure, which involves a manuscript publication that they submitted for publication. It hasn't been published yet, but they give us this draft manuscript, and then we're working with the professors and the postdocs, the graduate students, to come up with these claims that we will put into an application and then file. Once we file the application, we will go ahead and prosecute it at the USPTO. This means that we're working with the USPTO examiners to show how this invention is novel and non-obvious. We will explain to the examiners why this invention is the best thing ever, why it will cure all of the diseases, why you need to allow this. And eventually we'll get the patent. Another aspect of patent prosecution involves amending the claims. So as I mentioned earlier, our job as patent agents, our job is to expand the scope of an invention. So let's say the professor created this new chemical compound where you have a substituent that's fluoro. Well, we'll broaden it to fluoro, bromo, halo even, alkyl halide, whatever you want. And so sometimes we'll run into art when we do this, and the examiner will issue an office action saying, oh, this is not novel because we found this compound. Well, then our job is to amend the claims. We will narrow the scope and then eventually get that patent issued. So patentability searching, I mentioned it. In the past, we spent 4 to 6 years plus becoming an expert in one thing, in your PhD program. Now we need to know a sufficient amount in a short amount of time about mostly everything. I get all different sorts of patent applications to draft and prosecute, ranging from solar cells to pharmaceuticals. Every day it's something new, and I really enjoy that. but you have to get good at searching the literature. And this is what we do. This is what we do in grad school. I did this undergrad as well. I used SciFinder to find articles, to research, and what you learn in grad school is how to learn, I suppose. And this is just a continuation of that. You're still teaching yourself how these different reactions work, how you can apply one type of chemistry to another. And so it's really nothing new. It's just the scope has changed a little bit. And my favorite aspect of patentability searching involves chemical substructure searching. So in this sort of aspect, we're using SciFinder or other chemical databases to perform structure searching on new chemical compounds. And what we do is we build this genus. It's called a chemical genus. And this is an example of one here, a compound of Formula 1 having the chemical structure of this. And the point usually is to try to make it as broad as possible, expand your R2, R3, R4 groups to be anything, but also within a scope that is reasonable in view of the examples, the experiments that your inventor has given you. So it's a bit of an art, and I think it's very fun. So I want to mention that I get to work with a lot of interesting people at my job. The partners and other patent agents and associates at my law firm almost all have a PhD. They are very nerdy, so I feel right at home. We're all geeks. I get to work with a lot of paralegals and legal admins and clients. The clients range from big pharma, names you would definitely recognize, to universities, professors. I'm in North Carolina right now, and I work with a lot of professors at UNC Chapel Hill. I also get to work with startups. One thing that you might not know is that I file patent applications all over the world. So when you file, when someone comes to you with an invention and you're trying to patent it, you'll probably try to patent it in multiple countries. So I get to work with foreign associates, patent agents who are in like Brazil, the UK, where else am I going? Chile, Japan, Korea. And what's really interesting is that patent law is different all over the world. They all have their own techniques and laws. And so I think it's fun learning how these other aspects work all over the world, and working with these foreign associates, because they learn from us, we learn from them. And so it's a nice concept. So biggest differences between lab life and law life. I have a desk job. I no longer do any chemistry in the lab, which might be shocking for some people. At first that was weird. I went from using my hands, building chemical setups, grinding powders, just looking at pretty crystals all day, like that I would grow myself, to just sitting at a desk writing. I do a lot of writing, staring at a computer screen. So it does take some time to get used to. I work by the billable hour. And so this is interesting because in graduate school, you can spend your full day in the lab running a reaction. You can set it up, you can fail at it and do it multiple times and still continue to fail, but that's what grad school is. You're learning, it's all trial and error. But in this sort of environment, there's time pressure, and you're supposed to accomplish a task within a certain amount of time. So that will take some getting used to as well. And one other aspect that I actually really enjoy is working on multiple projects at once. So in graduate school, I studied frustrated magnetism, which you probably have never heard of, but it's super awesome. And I encourage you all to Google it later. But I spent, a good number of years just studying these frustrated materials and working on these cool lattice structures. And, sometimes it can wear you out, but now I get to work on all different sorts of projects, multiple projects a day. And if one thing, isn't really motivating me, the cool thing about it is that it won't last very long. It'll, blow over in 2 days, and then I'll start something new. So there is definitely a lot of variety in this gig. So you've all probably been wondering what a typical day is for me. This can go in any sort of order. I will say that I respond to emails all day long, which I think everyone does now. We're all, virtual. Respond to a lot of emails. I might draft a patent application, meet with inventors to discuss the invention disclosure, a new invention disclosure, prepare a response to a USPT office action, and discuss all of these things with a supervising partner at my law firm. I like to spread things out over several days. So I might start one assignment, a response to an office action, and keep it going in the back of my head as I work on an application. So just, keep the thoughts flowing. I like to, let things just sink in. And I think that helps in this sort of job. So you're all probably wondering, do I need to go to law school? You honestly don't have to go to law school. And I know that is shocking for people who are outside of patent law. I have a lot of family members who are lawyers, not patent attorneys. Again, I mentioned there is really no one out there who goes into patent law expecting to get here eventually. And so it's not very well known that patent agents don't have to go to law school and they can still practice patent law. And so a typical track for a patent agent is to go from technical advisor to patent agent to senior patent agent. And you just develop your skills, you really hone the craft. And I've worked with senior patent agents, most of whom work at large pharmaceutical companies. They're in-house and they are amazing at what they do. I learned so much from them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you've been doing this for 20 plus years and you get it. And I really look up to them as being just these incredible people who can write a killer patent application and prosecute it. It's cool to see how they think. And patent agents can work in many, many places. You don't have to stay in a law firm. You can work in industry, academia, government. There are places for any patent agent. But why would you want to go to law school? I started law school. There is more variety in the type of work you can do. You can go and be a patent litigator and be all cool with that. You can also practice trademark law, copyright law. You can go into all kinds of law. So it opens up some doors. There's more power, more responsibility, but there's also more money. So it's whatever motivates you, I guess. So how do you get started? In graduate school, I discovered that I wanted to go into patent law at the very end. I was a fourth year and I graduated my fourth year. And I had discovered that the tech transfer office at my university actually had an internship for graduate students. So a technology transfer office is probably at your school, and it's full of these commercialization managers, most of whom they're all from the sciences. They are able to look at what the professors are doing at your university and say, oh, this looks like it could be patentable, like this looks like it has potential. And so they identify research that professors are doing, and they'll send this research out to patent agents, patent attorneys at law firms, and we'll work with these commercialization managers and tech transfer offices to get patents for these professors. So this is definitely a good place to start if you're in graduate school right now. You have to definitely revamp your resume. When I was in graduate school, I think I had like a 10-page resume. It was very long, full of like academic achievements. In law firms, partners, even associates, patent agents, we just want to see like a one to 2 pager highlights. So there's no time. Again, we're billing our time, so we just like to skim. Something worth mentioning is any experience is good experience. I shadowed a patent attorney during my last year of graduate school. It was for 2 weeks. I followed this guy around. It really wasn't very exciting because it was just like, he's working on a computer, but I mean, you get to see what a real day in the life is. And so it's all in the technical work though. You have to get engrossed in it to really see why it's so cool. The technical advisor role, as I mentioned, is really a good starting point for scientists who want to go into this gig. And I got my technical advisor role by just emailing random law firms. I said, hey, I'm graduating. I want to start this, hire me. And it works. And I remember I was very uncomfortable doing that. I always wanted to just apply for a job, but I will say that there aren't that many job openings for technical advisors. They're sort of, it's kind of like you have to work your way in, and it's hard to find, which is why the cold calling makes the most sense. But if you can't find a technical advisor role because of whatever, you can take the patent bar. You can take this exam on your own. I would recommend a prep course, and there are certain prep courses that I would recommend over others. We can talk if you have questions. And you can take this exam and get a registration number and then apply for jobs. Or you can, while you're applying for jobs, take this exam. It shows that you're committed, that you're passionate, and I think that is all awesome. So are there any questions?